If you've ever felt like one player on your fantasy team is getting points just for you, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. We've got some money to make. Hope y'all won your fantasy matchups.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and good morning, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. It is Tuesday, September 10th, and we are getting ready to kick it off. In order to kick this off proper, we're going to bring on my main man, 13. 13, how are you doing here today?
Oh, I know, no, man. That opener felt a little personal.
Yeah, it did feel personal. Full disclosure here before we dive into the stocks here today. 13 and I have a happy hour, a league that's centered around the happy hour participants, and we were playing each other in week one, and I sneaked out a win by 0.6 points because Breece Hall and Deebo Samuel put up just enough to get it done. To add insult to injury, the run that took me over the finish line happened at the very end of the game in garbage time. I was pretty much passing out. They handed the ball off to Mr. Hall, and he ran it for a first down, and that got me the victory. So sorry,
that was all it needed.
That was a really, really close matchup. 0.6 points. We were two of the three highest scoring teams in the league. So I suspect that you're going to rack up plenty of dubs. You just kind of caught a bad beat there.
Just
and I got
not this week.
I will say I did put up 145 points starting Caleb Williams, who only accounted for 7 of them. So I should have.
Kickers led the way too.
Yeah. Oh man, Aubrey and the Bears D. So anyway, okay. Real good stuff there. Also, I definitely want to Shaka, Victory Mondays are only for Monday. Okay. Victory Mondays have to do with the Chicago Bears winning. We don't get a lot of Victory Mondays, save the jokes. So when we get them, I celebrate them. Fantasy is completely different and not worth doing that. I will say though, Easy Mike, good morning. It's great to see you here. This is criminal. I'm not sure how much we're going to actually talk about this, but this is absolutely criminal what the San Francisco 49ers organization did these last couple of weeks. Saying that Christian McCaffrey was questionable is absolutely ridiculous. That designation should have been doubtful. They knew for days he wasn't going to play. It didn't matter. They let people pile up bets, and even though some of those parlays, the CMC part was voided, I don't want to hear it. This is awful behavior by the San Francisco 49ers. I expect the league to talk to them. I hope they get penalized. Take away a first-round draft pick. Way too much money in football right here. Anyone that drafted Christian McCaffrey first overall got absolutely hosed yesterday by that organization. So, nope. Bring on the penalties. Bring on the penalties as far as I'm concerned. I also had Christian McCaffrey in one of those leagues and got absolutely hosed. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and talk about the market here. Always pick up your subs. So that's the thing. His sub was actually owned by another team. I couldn't. No, Lewis, we definitely don't. I actually think that this is kind of a clown position. No offense to you. I think you're awesome, but I think that this position is completely ridiculous. Definitely not. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right into the market. We're going to start with the SPY here. We are getting another move up. We are actually in the pre-market here above yesterday's intraday high. So we'll see if we end up getting a little bit more movement here, a little bit more of a pop and a move higher. We'll see if we can really take out that 50-day moving average. That number is 549.12. Would really like to see a close above that. We're not above that yet. If we do reverse here, I expect this to come down to the 100-day, which is at 537, but I'm not sure that we're going to get that here today. 13, what do you got on the SPY levels here today?
I think like that candle yesterday, we're probably going to get a lot of that same movement today. Probably end up with the same type of candle. I expect there'll be some choppiness to the upside and downside. The big question I think that you just mentioned was the 50-day SMA, whether or not that's going to get taken out. We might trade up above it, but whether or not we close above it is going to be the big question mark.
Yep.
I would think that even if we do or aren't able to get above it or close above it, that it's really not going to matter because tomorrow is going to determine whether we keep on going up higher or if this, this 2-day rally is over and we start heading back down lower. CPI comes out. I think that's going to, I don't know if it'll greatly affect the market, but it should have some effect, at least choose a direction where the price action is going to head for the rest of the week. And then following that, we also have PPI. So 2 days of some pretty significant economic reports could help determine the direction of the SPY. But for today, I'm looking at the 50-day SMA to provide some resistance, even if it does trade it over a little bit today.
And we're going to be very, very careful. Let's make sure we're clear about that. We expect some resistance. We actually discussed as a happy hour group last night that we could totally see this week kind of being a relief week, right? We had this candle from Friday. We're actually still inside that candle. I think you were pointing that out in your rundown of the SPY last night, 13. We're actually still inside this range here. And we could totally, it's next week, the second half of September. Next Monday is the 16th. So the second half of September is when the seasonality really kind of kicks up. And it's generally a bad period for the market that leads into October. So there is definitely a situation here where even if the market does over the next several weeks end up resolving lower, there is absolutely a situation where we trade higher today. 13, you're right on those 2 data points. That could be the juice that we need to really kind of trade higher here. So despite my overall position being bearish, I'm not going to let that affect some of my trades here today. Actually, in pre-market prep, I was just asking Jay if we thought Oracle could have a gap and go because they reported good earnings and they were trading up 9% or whatever it is. We'll take a look at that here in a sec. So despite I'm trying to disconnect my trading and what I see from my bias so that I can make more educated decisions. We'll see how well that works. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Wouldn't be shocked either way today. Okay, let's go ahead and break down some of the movers. I did kind of really quickly want to take a look at the market overview here. Does seem like there's a lot of green across the board. So I'm going to check back in on our heat map here of the SPY, the Dow, and the Qs once the market opens and some of these values reset. But we will definitely be paying attention to where some of those stocks go here today. All right, next. Let's go ahead and start with some of these movers here. It looks like we are going to start with SMX. Let me see if I can. And by the way, folks, just so you're aware, I'm actually using the beta version of Pro here because we do have some pretty awesome things coming. As you can see, I'm actually struggling with my chart right now. Let me see if I can get this back up. If not, I'll go back to the stable production version, but here we go. Here we go. All right. SMX. Let's start with SMX here. We did pop. We went as high as 550. We actually just shy of 6 here. We've kind of pulled back off that impulse move. Now, the thing that's got me concerned, and we'll see 13 what you have set up for this and what levels. The thing that has me concerned is this type of action here. We normally see this type of action in the regular session, but in a lot of these, we actually see these levels hold here in the pre-market. So we did lose the low. We set a newer low here. We're still up 98%, so let's keep it in perspective. The volume is kind of tapering. We definitely don't want to see that. I guess suppose if we hold this 415 level, maybe we can make a move back to the VWAP. VWAP is here at 490. But if we take a look here at the news feed, my goodness. Sorry, I guess going to beta was not the move here today. That was not the move here today. Let me see if I can go pull this up somewhere else. I apologize. 13, if you have this and you're ready to go, giddy up.
Okay, so SMX.
There it is. Jeez.
Didn't see any news of note on why it's moving. It does have a 616,000 share float, so this is going to move really easily. Could also knife really easily. I think one of the big reasons why we're seeing this movement, though, is that it's been heavily shorted. Now, the days to cover is going to be, about 1 because of how low the float is. But I did notice that the short interest on this was quite high. They did just do a 1 for 75 reverse split on the 15th of July. So I think we are seeing some a bit of a short squeeze here, but it could be over, real quick here, and it might just end up trickling down the rest of the day. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to trade, but as far as levels go, if we're going to talk about upside, we got to get back to VWAP for one. It's got to recapture 450, and as far as after we recapture VWAP, I'll be looking at levels $5, 540, 590 and 655 as upside targets.
Okay. Okay, really good stuff there on SMX. Let's keep moving on here. Next, I've got BKYI. This is BioKey International. Now, first things first here, I've actually never traded this. I think that there is, I think that, you know, we should be able to, but I have no real kind of familiarity with this, and I definitely want to watch this one out of the off the open here. Volume does look good. We traded up towards a high here at 214. Looks like we stopped just shy of 215. Came back in a little, unlike the last stock that we just took a look at, the pre-market formation looks pretty enticing. We dipped beneath VWAP and reclaimed it. Now we're kind of building above VWAP. This, to me, at least right now, sets up like this is going to go higher. Let's take a look at the news. In this case, we do actually have some news that's driving this. One of the world's most renowned, or excuse me, one of the world's most respected government defense ministries has awarded BioKey over $500,000 in new orders for their biometric user authentication solution pursuant to a 3-year purchasing agreement. So it looks like 3-year purchasing agreement, $500,000, 13. What do you make of ticker BKYI?
Yeah, that new orders says what's driving this up, and apparently there's a possibility that they'll get or I think it's pursuant to the 3-year purchasing agreement that this order comes from. They have 1.9 million shares in the float. Didn't see any short interest or reverse splits of note, but as far as the chart goes, it looks like we're holding above VWAP for the time being. So we're going to want to see that hold. If we trade beneath it, that's obviously going to want to be one of the things we want to see recaptured. But if we hold it into the open, I'll be looking at $2 as the first upside target, followed by 215 and 230.
I'm sorry, I was trying to handle something off to the side there. Okay, really good stuff with some of the levels. This one's got the catalyst, got the good formation. We'll see if it actually gives us a trade here. Sorry if we skipped over this. Smoke Tuna mentioning SMX, which is the first stock that we covered here. Float of 335K, very thin, so it's very risky to trade. It's worth noting here, I actually have a float figure of 616K. So despite us having a difference, it is still extremely low. That to me is the takeaway. Be careful here on SMX. With these low floaters, I think it's always important for us to remember, yes, they can move in your favor and give you some really great profits really, really quickly. But please don't forget, it can also do that in the opposite direction too. So you're going to need to make sure that you have a plan for each. Okay, let's keep moving on. Next one here is going to be SLXN. This is SLXN Therapeutics. This did pop in the after hours yesterday on a little bit of volume. Kind of held $1. And then this morning, we got the big move. Moved up to 180 on volume, came back in and retraced a little. We're kind of doing the price discovery level. Same thing here, right? That initial pullback on that impulse move came and set a bottom here at 131. So far, we've held that. Let's see if we can trade back up to the VWAP, maybe even take that out. I do have some levels above here. 164 looks to be a level, 172, and then that 180 high. We'll go ahead and chart some more highs if we get up there here. I didn't have anything fresh on SLXN 13. Do you have anything on this one?
Yeah, so what happened yesterday is in the morning, they released, there was a report that was released by PESG that was discussing this company, SLXN. And you'll notice that if you look at the daily chart, we did get some pretty good volume, but this wasn't one of those big movers like we got yesterday. So I think what happened is when the after hours started happening, that's when there was a lot more freedom to bid this up and trade this. So that's what we ended up getting after hours yesterday. And I think today we're just getting that relative volume from the movement yesterday, since it was a change from the norm, the average. So that's what where I think we're getting this movement from, was that report that was early on Monday. And this has 3.44 million shares in the float. So still, still small enough to move around. Just not one of those, super low floats like the one we were just talking about earlier, SNX. Yeah. But this has been on the month for less than this has been on the market for less than a month. So I don't have a whole lot of history on this. I just think that the whole move here is relative volume based off that report that was released early Monday morning.
There you go. SLXN, this actually giving a fairly decent formation here. Smoke Tuna, I'd be curious. I know it's still in the pre-market here, so perhaps you don't have a read on this, but honestly, looking at this formation here, really kind of held the lows, curling back up. We get volume expansion here, maybe to and through that VWAP for a potential trade. Good stuff there. Okay, next is going to be ticker BLMZ. This is one from yesterday. Looks like we're getting another play here today. You can see that the pros telling you here, BLMZ shares are trading higher. Stock has continued to rise after the company last week announced it entered into a business agreement with CrossVision for joint entertainment offering. So nothing new here today. This does kind of look like this is just a continuation move. We had the same note yesterday on BLMZ. We've actually covered this one before. Float here 6.7 million on average, 100-day average for volume just under 7 million. Already in the pre-market today, 12.7 million. So we've almost rotated that average volume entirely. We have rotated the float here. 13, what do you have on ticker BLMZ here today?
Not a whole lot. This is just moving on old news. If I'm going to be trading this one, I'm going to want to see first a recapture of VWAP, and then it appears that this stock this morning has been running into some problems up near 340. There's somebody who does not want that to go any higher. So once we get up to that point, depending on how the volume looks, maybe to help determine if I'm going to take profits there or let it run some more. So if I even get into this one, but that's what I'd be looking for at this one: a recapture of VWAP, and then see what happens up near 340 if we break out or not.
Okay, really good stuff there. Smoke Tuna here from the chat saying Blooms might give a continuation. I tend to agree with them. Looks like we kind of got that here already in the pre-market. Might get that again here when the regular session opens. I suspect we're going to be trading BLMZ here today. Okay, a couple of other stocks that are moving here. This one, KEQU. I don't have anything on this one. I think this is just kind of weird. We got really, really light volume taking this up 9 points in the pre-market. This is trading up on 647 shares of volume. I'm not even going to cover this, frankly. We'll see if this moves when it actually opens, but for right now, I'm just going to skip it.
Yeah, this one looks like the news is old. They attended some Arab Lab live trade show. It has 2.195 million shares in the float. Short interest, nothing there. Reverse splits, nothing there. Don't really see a whole lot with this one.
Yep. No, I don't scan movers without a parameter here, Lynn. Yesterday, I was actually thinking that some of the movers, like the little flashing that the results list was doing, was volume related. It turns out that it wasn't, and actually, I just kind of left that off here. I also get asked about this volume filter quite often, so I think it might be worth it to just kind of go back and forth and either mention it or kind of show why I used this in the first place. The last stock there, KERQ or whatever that was a perfect example of why we use the volume filter on a lot of these tools. But I digress here. Don't want to run out of time. We do have 10 minutes before the open. Next one here that's gapping up, this ticker AVO. This is Mission Produce. Mission Produce shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 financial results. Just earnings here. Do you have levels on this one? I just kind of wanted to mention why it was popping here.
No, this one looks like it also got a buy from Lake Street, $50 price target. It has 43 million shares in the float. Not really the kind that we're looking for. I don't know how well this will move, but it's had some nice movement in the pre-market. So I don't have a whole lot of information on this. I'd probably just wait and see what happens at the open.
Next here is going to be ASNS. This is one that we are familiar with. We've traded this a whole bunch. Actelis Network shares trading higher after the company announced that it had received a new order for a major serial transportation agency. A lot of vagueness there. Stock did pop in the after hours, popped again here in the pre-market. Volume is here. We'll see what happens at the opening print, but we are below the VWAP. 13, do you have anything on this one?
Has a float of 5.7 million shares. It has a slight short interest, just a little bit over 8% with 1 day to cover. Not necessarily a short squeeze candidate, but it could have a little bit of effect. Don't see or the reverse splits. They did one earlier this year on April 19th. It was a 1 for 10. Other than that, I just think that it really comes down to the news, that the Department of Transportation news that they released. So. Don't really have figures attached for that I can see at the moment, but that's why it's moving.
Okay. Next year, QNRX. This did pop. I didn't see any new news. That kind of crummy trading performance. We'll see if this gives a setup. around the open. If you folks have anything, let us know. I'm just going to kind of skip it if you don't have an objection to that, 13.
No, that's fine. I don't.
VRDN is going to be next. This is VRDN Therapeutics. VRDN Therapeutics shares trading higher after the company reported top-line data from its Thrive phase 3 clinical trial in patients with active thyroid eye disease. You can see we actually dipped and then popped and have moved higher here. Stock was $14 yesterday, $16.25 here today. We're doing a decent job holding VWAP up 14%. 13, you got anything on this one that you want to cover?
I didn't see this, so I'll just tell you what I see right off the bat. The phase 3 trial, that's great. That means that the next step is to start trying to find a partner to manufacture with, distribute, get their product out. I just don't know what the addressable market is for this kind of disease. So I'm not sure how much this company stands to make off of their drug. It does have a float of 54 million shares, so it is a little bit larger. Might be a little bit harder to move compared to the other ones we're looking at today. As far as short interest goes, 15.6% with almost 7 days to cover. That makes it a short squeeze candidate. So we could see some movement off of that. And as far as the reverse splits go, they have not done one in a long time for years. So nothing really there. But yes, this like I said, I don't know what the addressable market is for active thyroid eye disease. So I couldn't tell you what how important this is, but it's moving now, so we'll just ride the momentum.
And this is definitely one I think we should check out the opening print before actually going with here. So let's see how it trades before we end up taking a trade here. Wheeler, this is just continuation from last week. What, did I not click on it? What's going on here? There we go. Sorry about that. This looks like just continuation. We did pop a little bit here on volume. I don't really know if there's anything to cover here on this one.
There's no news. This is the one that won the court case, and it was moving off of that win. So now it's just getting some continuation. There's no news on this one.
Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the main chart here. I do want to take a look at a couple of things. We'll start with Apple here real quick. Apple actually lower. This percentage is incorrect. Apple. Oh, that's because it says it's GameStop. Good Lord. I have confused this all types of ways. I think trying to mix the beta and the production site this morning was not the right move, but that's neither here nor there. Apple is lower. I am definitely excited. I'll show you why. Some of the things that are in it are going to be awesome, and that release is coming next week, but I digress. As far as Apple goes here, they lost that court case with the EU. That's why they're lower here. I don't really know if there's a trade based off this. Maybe this ends up trading back green here today. I think they'll probably shrug that off, to be quite honest with you. The next one that I wanted to mention here is going to be Oracle. Jay Harris, I see that you were mentioning this here. Jay Harris, Oracle. You had also asked, are we going to get a pullback or go higher here on Oracle? Jay Harris, you win today for asking the $64,000 question. That is absolutely what we're kind of looking at here. Here, I'll even make this a little bit easier. Going back to yesterday's post-market session, I'm kind of looking at, let me extend this a little bit. Sorry. Oh my, you have got to be kidding me. I cannot believe how bad I am. Let's go ahead and grab this. I don't know why this is so difficult for me here. Oh my Lord.
With Oracle, we were kind of getting the same movement that we got when the last earnings report came out, where we gapped up and had a floating island for a time before we started trading down to fill that gap. It's entirely possible we could see that same thing happen here again with the Oracle, where it just creates a bit of a floating island and then goes sideways for a time before finally filling the gap at the downside. History can repeat itself. It's literally done that the past two earnings reports. Gaps up, goes sideways, fills a gap later on. You could look at a daily chart and see how that's just been the norm for this company.
So I'll go to the daily chart here in a setup, but I am obviously fighting my software here today, so I am not going to flip around back and forth that fast. Sorry, 13. Here is what I was trying to draw earlier. So Jay Harris, you're asking, are we going to go up or down? I can't tell you, but what I can do is plan for either direction. This is a classic pre-market channel trade. We want to see if this breaks. Right now, it does look like it's kind of breaking to the upside. I asked Jay Rice about this earlier. He gave me kind of a smart aleck answer that I actually think is correct. Said, I'm not in the habit of chasing stocks, is what he said, actually, which is the correct turn there. I'm not in the habit of chasing stocks up 10%. So let's see here. I'd rather this pull back, frankly. I think that this would make more sense. The trade would actually be a little bit easier if we do get an intraday short setup here. Do keep in mind, sometimes we do kind of see a gap and go on some of these names. And so maybe we get that, then a pullback. In either case, I want to see how this actually breaks out of this formation here this morning.
Well, one thing that's important with this one is that their earnings, the revenue beat was the first beat they've had in I think it's going back to the past 4 quarters before it. So they've kind of broken a streak here. So I think that may give it a little bit more of a push, or at least try to keep it elevated for a time.
Is this what you're talking about? This revenue surprise?
Yeah. This is like the first time in over a year that they've actually beat their revenue. So that may give it a little bit of a little more time up here. I could see it coming back in, but I think because of this and the way it's been trading after earnings for the past 2 quarters, I think we may see it try to hold where it's at.
Okay. Jay Rice here mentioning Oracle. Once it broke the old high of 146 plus, it ripped. Absolutely. We could see that on the chart here. If I could get these damn things to work, I'm sorry that this is just frustrating me so effing much. Here is the 146 level that Jay is talking about right in here. Soon as it broke this and it was chilling up here for a while, it did pop. My question is going to be, do we pop and go higher still? Okay, we'll get to Palantir in a little bit. Jay Harris, I know you were asking a lot. We ran out of time here today. I do want to mention this. Carmen here saying on Apple, Huawei's trifold phone, is what she meant to say here, may give them a real run for their money. I'm going to push back on this, Carmen. I'll take the other side of this. I was actually, we were talking about this yesterday. One of the gentlemen that is in Asia that kind of watches this stuff for us linked some stats in happy hour this morning. Apparently, there were 3 million of these trifold phones on order. They're going to cost about $5,000. $5,000, and a lot of them were ordered by influencers just to get clicks and are going to get returned. So let's wait for some data on this one before we do that. Okay, let's flip over to the main workspace. Let's see what we got here today.
Looks like BKYI is trying to push up through 2. SMX looks like it's trending down at the moment.
Yep.
SLXN, that had a slight pop trying to get the view up, and now it's going lower.
Zoom in. Sorry, go ahead.
BKYI just jumping around. It's whipping. Currently beneath the view app, trying to hold though. Blooms, that's trying to push up above VWAP, currently above it, and might be getting going here. 340 is the intraday. I'm sorry, the pre-market high.
Here you go. Here you go. By the way, Oracle, for those of you kind of watching, Oracle did break out here of that pre-market channel that we talked about, and it did come back. Let's see here on Oracle. Maybe we do, maybe we kind of flush back here to the VWAP. We'll see on Oracle. Blooms. I'd be curious. Anyone that takes an Oracle trade today, let me know what you're doing, if you don't mind.
Blooms had a nice pop out of the gate here, still above VWAP. Let's see if it holds. BKYI. Just back and forth. Still look like it wants to take out 2. Think we might be getting it here.
On which one?
This was BKYI.
BKYI, excuse me.
Fighting with that 2 level right now.
There it is.
And is it going to do it? 214 is the after hours high. And there it goes. Burst through 2. Looks like 210 might have the next big wall of sell orders it has to chew through. And then after that, maybe 217 to 220. SLXN, that looks like it's going down. Sorry if I jump around here. I don't expect you to follow, but I'm just going to say what I see.
No, this is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to use the beta site here. I'll kind of pull the curtain back for you folks that might be interested in Pro or already in Pro. The scanner is actually getting a complete rework on how it works in this next patch. It's live on beta. It actually should give you better performance. Here we go on BKYI, right through that pre-market high.
Yep.
Volume looking really good here. What do you got?
Yeah, next level is going to be 230 and then 270. That'll be the next upside targets I have. We might get a little bit pullback here, but if it holds VWAP, then we still have a good shot at breaking through that 215. I'm sorry, getting back up to that 217 and going higher.
So just to kind of continue what I was saying here, the scanner, it actually has been redesigned. It allows some really cool features like pinning a column. So if you put multiple data charts in there, you can still really see the column, and the latency is faster. Everything works better and is faster. So I'm going to try to use this a little bit more. We should get better performance out of it. Wheeler here also popping out of the gate, unable to break out of the pre-market consolidation zone that it was in. Let's take a look here at some of the tech names. Meta ripping out of the gate, Tesla ripping out of the gate.
All Mag 7s are up except Apple.
And to be honest with you, I'm actually watching an intraday chart here on Apple. Apple is trying to trade up here. It is up off the lows. Watch for a red-green move here on Apple.
All right, so now I want to take a look and see what's going on with SPY, see if we're getting up to that 50-day SMA or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip over to the heat map that we have going here. Also, Lynn and Randy, please go ahead over to Beta, check out the heat map. I know you have a laundry list of features. I can't keep them memorized, but see if the performance is any better for you here. Jay had mentioned rotating into broken down tech names so far. IWM, DJ, Dow Jones Industrial Red here. You can actually see on the heat map, Dow Jones leading the way to the downside. S&P here being bolstered by some of those tech names like Google, NVIDIA, and Microsoft.
So SPY is getting rejected at a previous all-time high at 548.62. That's still beneath the 50-day SMA, turning red on the day at the moment, or trying to anyway. It's going to have to get to that level in order to touch the 50-day SMA, which is at 549.12 at the moment.
Yep, you can see we are right there. We are right there.
BKYI 220 is the new high. Looking for 230 on that one is the next target.
Here you go on BK. And wow, this scanner is much faster. Update is much faster. Chart is much faster. Looking real good here. By the way, Oracle snapped that 155 here. Let me actually bring that up on screen here. ORCL. This is not really going. So Jay, I know we popped a little bit higher here. I'll say this: if we break down through 153.5, okay, another point lower here. Let me reset that and get that back on here. We break down from here. I'd be tempted to open up a short. Let's also watch what happens at the VWAP when it gets down here. Watching or no position, watching Oracle for a possible short entry. Here's SMX. Looks like we dipped out of the open, volume kind of compressing, but so far it's holding. We'll see if we make a move back to VWAP there. Smoke Tuna saying it might be done. Might be done.
SMX. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it hasn't recaptured VWAP for a while, and it's trending lower. Let's see what happens at about 365. That would be one area of interest where I think we might get some support. So we'll see what happens when it gets down there. Jay Rice was asking in pre-market before we opened if I think he was asking us, but if they were still holding SQQQ. I sold I sold all of my SQQQ on Friday, and I started rebuilding yesterday. So I have a very tiny amount right now. Just waiting to,
Kudos to you, because I have not started to rebuild SQQQ.
I have a very small amount.
By the way, Palantir, let me go back to this here. Palantir, which Jay Harris was asking about earlier, this has really been kind of a great stock recently. Obviously, we traded up and gapped up yesterday on the news of it joining the S&P. We actually did trade higher here. I think there was somebody looking to short this yesterday. Hopefully you're okay still. We had a day of continuation here. Now it looks like we're kind of pulling back. This is ideal. This is what we want to see here on Palantir. Let's see if this sets up at a tradable level.
Looks like Wheeler is trying to push into the pre-market highs of 855. It's
indeed it is.
Taking a look at some of the other ones. Looks like Summit, the mover from yesterday, that's having a bad morning. That one, I would be looking at 1675 for the next support level if we continue downward.
I think that's probably right here, maybe even 17.
Yeah. SLNX also down. If we get some support, I think that's going to come as early as 120. Looks like BLMZ is starting to decide if it wants to fall beneath VWAP again or if it's going to get support. Looks like at the moment it's getting support, so not bad there. BKYI, we got 230 in that one. This one's still going. Next upside target's
that really started to run away. Oracle continuing to trade higher here, not getting that.
kind of just, I mean, so far it's been doing the same thing it does after every earnings report for the past couple of quarters. Just gaps up and holds up there, and then later on, maybe late this month or sometime early next month, we'll start to see it trade and down and fill that gap. Let's see here. What else is going?
VRDN looks like that dipped a little bit here. We'll see if this reclaims VWAP.
Looks like SMX is trying to turn around. Didn't even get to that level I was looking for, but still needs to recapture 450, and there's a big wall there. VWAP is at 469. Lunar, this thing is headed high of 568. Slow moving this morning, but it looks like it wants to try and go higher. If you're interested in that one, there's
that's LUNR. We'll check that one out.
Yeah. Going higher with BKYI.
Wheeler pulling back as we speak right here. Careful on that one. Oracle continuing to move higher. Looks like the up move was the play here. I'm kind of caught off sides on that. I don't have a position on it, but I'm not set up to trade it. I didn't reverse quick enough there.
Pro doing well with BKYI.
This was a nice move off the open. Didn't have entry for me on this one.
Well, Pro, you pretty much picked up the open.
Okay. Say again?
I said, well, Pro, you pretty much picked up the open on BKYI.
BLMZ, that has a possible triple top right up there, about 340.
Yeah, see that? SMX. Man, lots of things are starting to look a little weak here.
Just making sure that's not another fire truck. It's just a school bus.
All right, so SLXN down to that 120 area. See if it gets some support here. Interesting because that is not only the 200 EMA on the 5 minute, but that was also where the price popped up to in the after hours. What?
Sorry to interrupt you here. We're getting a pull in the entire market here. Tesla reversed. Apple actually taking the next leg down as I see a lot of these tech names pull back. SPY looks like it pulled off those highs, although it's not continuing to break down here. It's actually right at VWAP. We'll see if we move lower here on the broader market. Q's down. Dow holding here. How's the IWM doing? Let's take a look at that real fast. IWM still at the lows as well.
All right.
Look at, oh man, I'll tell you what, Oracle, man, that move higher here, I should have taken that one. Sorry, folks, got too wound up in the potential short here. Short was not the play on Oracle out of the gate. Apologies to you.
BKYI, that's now at has a high of 240 now, coming back in at the moment. BLMZ, that's also coming down to some of these support areas in the pre-market.
SPY trying to hold that little bit of a pullback.
Yeah, SLXN lower. If we don't get support at about $1, then probably going to be done with this one because we don't want to trade this when it's under that. So when the shorts come in.
I'm trying to boil this down to a short list of stocks to focus on. And honestly, I don't have a whole lot of good targets here. Oracle, I feel like, is the real good trade of the day, especially on the expanding volume. And I just missed it. Was too concerned with the possible down move after the stock being guys. Here's the other thing. When you say a stock is already up 9 or 10%, please don't think that that's the end. This Oracle was up 9%. It's now up 13%. Things that go up can go up more, and things that can go down more. Oracle here, just totally offside. Sorry to let you guys down. We'll see if we get a reversal trade in that one here today. Wheeler, nice little bounce off the VWAP. We'll see if this can take out the 850 level, which is clearly resistance.
Will BKYI get to 250? I mean, it looks like it can. I'll
tell you what,
targeting 270. What?
I want a VWAP pull. Give me a VWAP pull. The BKYI has shown strength in the pre-market. It's shown strength at the opening print. Give me a VWAP pull. Let's hold this level here. I've got that VWAP level at 207. If we hold 207 here, I'm trying this for a long side trade.
Okay. I think you'll get a potential VWAP pull in maybe 5 minutes.
See, this is Steve. This is exactly the type of stuff that I'm trying to avoid. I actually feel worse now knowing that this took place here. I had Oracle calls, panicked at the talk about shorting it, took my 145% gain, but damn, she's running. So a couple of things that we can take away from this. And I'm sorry if I'm on a soapbox here again, 13, but I actually legitimately feel bad for Steve here. I feel like I contributed to this. First of all, the one thing, when we're having discussions here about stocks, you should always kind of keep in mind that this is what makes a market, right? Different opinions are inevitably what make a market here. In the case, if you're going to be influenced by somebody else, which happens to me all the time, I'm not criticizing that at all. I think I should have done a better job, just to be clear. In the case of where you're doing this, it might be worth leaving a little piece on in case it does the opposite. I would imagine if you took most of your position, you booked your 145%, feeling pretty good there. And if you had left a little bit on there and this continues to run, that's just gravy being poured over the stuffing and the turkey at Thanksgiving here. So I personally apologize to you, Steve. I feel that way because I kind of just feel like I was off sides on this, and Oracle continuing to move higher here. Just not a good call on my part. Not a good call on my part.
I think Amanda kind of hit the reason why I wasn't trading this. It feels expensive. Now, that's not to say that the whole thought I had here with why it could create a floating island and stay that way for a little bit was just based on the earnings beat, the first one in over 4 quarters, and then the fact that after the past 2 quarters of earnings, it's gapped up and created an island, and then later on it sold off, filled the gap, and then went higher. That's all I base this on. So, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
like
and
BLMZ is really going lower now.
Steve, here's the right attitude. Can't feel bad about 145% gain. I mean, look, let's face it. If you're booking gains at 145%, you're clearly doing something right. We're always in the business of trying to make ourselves 2% better every day. Always. And even on winning trades, I'll often look back and think to myself, what can I do better? I'll often ask the group, guys, you just saw me screw up or you just saw me make a trade. What can I do better? You see me constantly taking feedback from people here because I know that there's a bigger gap that we can close. Steve, this is the right attitude. We'll get the next one.
Here's your VWAP poll in BKYI.
Let's go, dude.
Also was getting mentioned by Hatchet.
Which is a sweet name. I mean, let's just be honest. BKYI, here we go.
Not quite touching VWAP, but it did get pulled close to it. BLMZ trying to find some support at around 280. SLXN fell through that support, going a little bit lower. Might find some down here closer to 1.
So this BKYI, so here you go. You're actually being shown in real time why I said I wanted a VWAP pull and why I would trade this at the VWAP. We didn't even get to the VWAP. We didn't even get to the pre-market highs that we broke out of, and this stock is already showing the propensity to bounce. This is exactly why I wanted this to come into VWAP. Darn, it didn't. Here we go. We're actually going up towards those highs. Whoever grabbed this one, Chewbacca approves. We've done a really good job. 13, shout out to you. Done a really good job kind of staying on top of this one. I did not get filled. I got no trades yet today. I feel like I'm getting FOMO, guys. FOMO here. I'm missing out.
Lunar had a pretty good pop to 574 and came back into VWAP. Still above VWAP right now, but kind of looking a little weak here with these upper shadows. So maybe wait for Lunar to set up the next move. BLMZ still trying to. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say Oracle actually looks like it's slowing down here at 160. Oracle up 14% here, up $20. Does look like it's running into some resistance here at 160. We'll see if this ends up pulling back to the VWAP comp. I think you put a short on here. I actually kind of like this idea. I'd be quick on this. You get gains on this, I'd feel good about taking them. Yeah, I was off sides on this. Don't let my bias get in the way.
Yeah, just kind of waiting for things to, either change directions, set up. It looks like a lot of things are slowing down right now. SLXN, that still might be going down. Blooms, BLMZ, that one's still trying to hold the 280 area. SMX, that's trying to recapture VWAP at the moment. That could be interesting.
Real quick here, Brittany, good morning. It's great to see you here this morning. Brittany saying, have you guys talked about GD yet? General Dynamics. What matters makes brought up. I think what you meant to say here is what Matt Malley brought up yesterday. That was probably an autocorrect on the phone. Totally get it, Brittany, excuse me. I did not end up buying this yesterday, which was stupid. I probably should have just taken some calls for a continued breakout here. We're actually seeing more of that here today, up another 1.6% here today. Look, I might just start taking flyers on all of Matt Malley's calls, to be quite honest with you. This one was really, really good. I actually did take a look at this at the end of the day and opted not to pull the trigger, which obviously in hindsight looks stupid. This one looks good. I think that this could move a little bit more, especially with this being in the defense sector. I think he was spot on with his idea yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't pick this one up either, but that's just because I already own Lockheed and RTX. This would have been a good options trade, but I didn't do that either. Yeah,
that's kind of what I was planning out. I opted not to get it there. Not a good start to the week here for me. Wheeler here. This did pull back to the VWAP. It's trying to bounce here. Maybe watch this one for a potential trade.
Yeah, good call on the triple top at BLMZ. It appears that that's what's happening here, and we're getting the resolution for that because it just lost the 280 support, losing the 65 EMA as well. And if we don't see some kind of rebound from there, looking like it's going to 250.
Okay, SMX here. It is making a move back towards its VWAP. Let's see if we can cross and move above that.
It's certainly trying.
Sure is. Oracle here, still flirting with that 160. For those of you that are...
Sorry, it looks like Wheeler's trying to go higher.
Here is Wheeler. It did break out of that area. Let's see if it breaks out. What do I have the high print here at 847?
I have 855 as the pre-market high. I think that's what we're wanting to see get taken out.
Goldman Sachs ripping to the lows here. Apple's still at the lows, by the way. That did die. I had said earlier that was trying to make a red-green move. That got evaporated when the market pulled a little bit. Apple at the lows. Tesla at the highs. So Tesla completely doing the opposite. I saw a bunch of you were mentioning Tesla here earlier. You guys trading that? Tesla's going back up. Oracle is coming back into its VWAP.
SMX touched VWAP and it came right back in.
Yeah, I actually have it not touching VWAP, but getting real close there. You're right about that, 13.
Looks
sorry, Smoke Tuna here mentioning SMX might be loading for a quick pop, but the pop will be sold. Look at the flush here. Smoke Tuna, you were on that.
Wow, look at this thing go. So now it's getting support from the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Let's see if that turns around there. Lots of things getting hammered this morning.
Yeah, we are getting that reversal. All right, BLMZ, this also moving down here. But let's take a look at the SPY here. Here is the SPY. We are actually breaking beneath the VWAP, going lower here.
BKYI, that looks like it might actually try to push up and take out 240. And then SLXN, that one's curling back up.
Here is SLXN. By the way, comp. Your timing was pretty good. 2 points now on that Oracle short from 160, and this is just a short move back to the VWAP. If I were in your short, I'd peel this right here if we get there and wait for it to set up. Sorry, 13. What do you got?
Wheeler. I just nailed Wheeler.
Nice. Let's go. Let's get a registering for 13 out here. He's always pretty modest. Let's go there. Let's go.
No, yeah, I nailed it. I'm modest. No, I was talking about this one looking like it was going to take off. I took a stab at it and paid off a little bit. 878 current. So it broke that 855 that we were talking about, got to 878. Might have some more in it. Might need to come back in a little bit first. So that was just the initial move. Wait for it to set up next. Looks like SMX still trying to get a turnaround story going here with a rebound off the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. We'll see if that ends up materializing. VWAP is current. I have VWAP currently at 452. BKYI, that one, if this can hold VWAP, it looks like this one's going to try and take out 240. But that's going to be if it holds VWAP. It's looking like it could start to curl and go lower. All right. Oh, the RCAT getting mentioned. I saw that was getting a little bit of movement.
Okay. Sorry, I was just I was delivering some feedback. By the way, I know I was complaining a little bit earlier about some of the bugs since I was using a beta site here. Since the open, I have done nothing but use the scanner on Pro Beta, and it is awesome. So despite some of the issues that I was seeing with the chart and some of the different layouts that I had here, the scanner is tip top, and boy, is it working faster. I wish my brain was working faster and I was trading these a little bit better. LASE back to the VWAP might be bouncing here. LASE.
And BKYI could not hold that VWAP. It is headed lower. Looking for support at $2. BLMZ still trying to turn around. SMX down to its 65 EMA now. Nice
trade there, Comp. We'll give you register rate. I'm glad someone hit that. I'm going to be looking at. So now that we're at, okay, sorry, 13. I know I just kind of ran over what you were talking about here, but I'm trying to revenge. Now that that's no good. Now that we've come back into the VWAP here on Oracle, do we get another trade? It looks like it is trying to bounce off the VWAP here so far. Let's see if we move back up towards 157 on Oracle. No position yet. I'll keep you posted here. I'm looking for the volume to expand. Tesla's break QH. This is the penny stock, by the way. This did just break the VWAP here. Let us know, Crow. Carmen, if you're still around, we will talk about that insider stuff here in a little bit. Maybe give us 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. Good mention, Jay Rice. Talking about a firm. Look at those chopsticks. Right at the top there. And then it just came right back in. Just straight.
Oh, my goodness.
Weeks worth of red. So I guess the question now is,
what chart are you looking at? What chart are you looking at?
I'm looking at the daily.
Okay.
So for this one, I'd be looking at the 200-day SMA for support. And if we don't get that, if it doesn't get support there, I think it falls to the 20-day SMA and fills the gap to 32.75. I got 32.51.
Okay, well, 32 and change, 32 and a half, whatever. I mean, that's close enough, man. I wouldn't be messing with that. I'd be out of the trade early there. Great call on a firm here. This coming back in. Yeah, I'm around. I prefer that to a square. I've never heard that before, Carmen, but you know what? My affinity for dad jokes, I will probably reuse that. I know you're not a dad, but I might turn that into a dad joke. That's really good.
Wheeler
really
is
good.
Absolutely ripping.
So is QH. This continues to go higher here. Here's your Wheeler. Nice trade on that one, 13. Did you keep a trailer on this?
No, because I thought it was going to come back in, kind of like how it's doing right now. But it's fine. You know, I just was moving on to the next one. But it seems like all these other ones that we were looking at this morning are not doing very well. You have SLXN. That one's still trying to turn around. BKYI. That one dropped through BWAP. It's trying to get support from its $2 level. SMX, that one lost to 65 EMA, currently trying to recapture that. Sorry, did you have something to say?
No, I was just saying, here's IVP. Really, the two trades that look pretty good right now are Wheeler, the one that you mentioned, and the penny stock that chat mentioned here, QH. These two currently ripping to the upside. I'm not in either of them. Tesla, by the way, Chris and Lynn and Randy, you're our Tesla traders. You guys in Tesla, look at this. Look at this impulse move back to the VWAP and then the move higher here. This is awesome. This is an awesome move here.
Yeah, Tesla trying to do two things. It looks like trying to recapture or trying to hold the 50-day SMA, which has been a pretty interesting moving average for it lately. Yeah, and that 226 level that I've had here forever. So looking for a break. Well, we're already above the 50-day SMA, so looking for a break of 226. That'll, if we close above that or start trading above that for a little while, could see 232. No guarantee though.
Crow finding the Tesla juice there. Tesla, giddy the heck up, Chris. I love it, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. This has actually been pretty good here. I was taking a look. Here's NVIDIA. So it looks like we did pop above 109. I know a lot of us are waiting for 100 here. It might take a while for us to get down to that 100 level. Meta at its VWAP. Ooh, Lassie. That actually just came off the screen there. Let me see if I can get that back real fast. Here's Lassie. Trying to go off that pull to the VWAP. Damn.
Oh. Laser Photonics. This is now. Is this an anti-drone play? Isn't it?
I believe so. The big note here on Lassie, they have started advertising heavy on CNBC in the morning. I see commercials for this stock all the time. Integrated manufacturing company for photonic-based industrial products and solutions, primarily laser cleaning technologies.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't look like it's a drone defense name at all.
Takes the rust off, I think. Looks like BKYI is trying to make a campaign run for its VWAP.
A campaign run. Boy, we're using the debate lingo early today, folks. 13 busting it out. Oh, real quickly here, whoever was asking about SQQQ earlier. So we actually, I'm going to bring up, what?
Jay Rice.
No, he was asking about our positions. Jay knows how to trade all of these things. Right. I think he was asking about our positions. I'm more focusing here on strategy. I don't mind telling Jay my strategy. He probably has his own though. The strategy here on the Qs, we were talking about this yesterday as well. Really want to see the VIX come in a little bit more, and then maybe start loading up on some of these Qs trades. To me, this Qs looks like some chop up here. And if we flip over to the tradable asset, I guess you could trade the Qs, but if we flip over to the SQQQ, which is what we've been trading, it does look like this is kind of choppy, not really getting a whole lot of moves here. What, 10, 12 cents top to bottom? That's if you hit it. I don't know. I'd almost wait for the VIX to kind of come in a little bit more here before we start looking at reloading some of these. Shout out to you for scaling back in 13. You're going to have a more exposure than I am, which means you'll catch the move quicker than I will.
Yeah, but I currently have a small amount right now. Just,
Yeah, just messing around.
I mean, well, I kind of wanted to, at least be able to have some of a stake in it, and then also kind of have a marker so I could see, what it's doing, and if I want to add or do whatever. But for now, I'm happy with where it's at right now, and I'll add more if we get some more downside. Kind of cycling through these ones we were talking about this morning. They're just kind of hanging out here, kind of deciding where they want to go next. Seeing RCAT get mentioned. That's been slow moving this morning, but it's had some pretty decent movement. It looks like 270 is the current intraday high. ASTS had a pop of 2680 out of the open, and it has come back down. Now it's under 26. Sorry, did you say?
Yeah, I was just going to say for VRDN here, I'm interested on this. If we can move through VWAP in particular, the trigger here is going to be the volume. If the volume can kind of expand through that level, that would look pretty good. Yeah. So Ryan here mentioning that SQQQ will protect you if the market heads south big. Mm-hmm. That's true. You got to be careful when using some of these hedges. If you're not experienced on using hedges, I would really encourage you to maybe talk to some people that do this often and then practice it in your paper account. One of the things with hedges that really kind of bothered me when I first started is, first of all, I didn't like taking losses. So even on good days when my hedge was getting blasted, I was like, why do I have this stupid thing? And then it really takes a couple, you kind of think about that. And then one day when the market gets absolutely slaughtered and the only thing that you have in the green is that inverse ETF, you'll quickly realize why you sit through that coming in. I will say, though, I kind of want to take this at a better spot, right? I want to kind of plan this out a little bit better. If you're going to hedge, practice it first. It's not as easy as we make it sound when we just say that.
Christopher Anthony Forsman was asking if anyone knew why JP Morgan was moving in after hours yesterday. Didn't really see anything, any news. Had an inside day. I'm not exactly sure, but I can see that we opened higher today, and now we're coming back into where we were trading yesterday. I don't know exactly the reason why JP Morgan had an after hours pop. Maybe somebody else does.
Now I'm looking at, there's some of these SEC forms, but what is this form? Does anyone know what this form 4424B2 is? I'm not sure what this is.
Looks like
it's the text is really small. I don't want to try to read that and figure it out while we're live here.
Wheeler, after having a drop down to 876, has now popped up to as high as 975.
Oracle back at its VWAP, by the way. That was an awesome short, comp. It was an awesome call on that Oracle short. Should have
So it
taken
looks
that
like-
with you after I missed the long. Sorry, 13. Go ahead.
Okay. Looks like SLXN is trying to come back up. It's got to make its way through some EMAs to get to VWAP. So, maybe there's some resistance in there with that one. Be careful. Also, BLMZ with the same, also trying to get back up to VWAP. Currently
Also,
running into some other EMAs having
that
trouble.
penny stock QH that you guys were looking at. Let's see if that clears VWAP here. Here, thank you, Smoke Tuna. 424B1 is a form that the company must file to provide additional information that was not included in its initial prospectus filing upon registration. So are those forms are about companies that JPM has taken a stake in? Because it wouldn't be from JPM's initial prospectus, would it? Still don't think I understand what's going on there.
Looks like Wheeler might be gearing up to go higher. Maybe 10s on the horizon. Lunar also pushing up to its intraday high of 574. SMX still sideways. BKYI still trending lower. SLXN trying to recover, and BLMZ sideways.
Let's take a look here at the market, see what our heat map looks like. Does look like the SPY being held up by some of the bigger names, but otherwise probably mostly red. Dow also looks kind of weak here. That matches the chart. NASDAQ kind of holding in here. This heat map, real good representation of what the market looks like. Q's here about flat, SPY moving over, but still higher because some of the big boys, and Dow moving to the lows. That's what we see here. Looks like Apple, your biggest drain there on the Dow.
RCAT has a new high of 273. I would want to see some expanding volume probably, between now and the next half hour to an hour, because it seems like it's nicely set up to make a push for 3. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I'd be watching the volume to see what kind of price action we get. It's been very slow this morning so far.
Travis, man, first of all, Travis, congratulations on that summit trade, dude. Would love to see success from our group here. I know you mentioned it in pre-market prep, but we're going to give you the sound effects here in this show anyway. Travis, you're asking, why did banks sell off on the news of capital rules this morning? This was not something that I'm following. If anyone has anything for them. I see here, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says bank would not have bought First Republic if the government hadn't backed the plan. Inflation risk remains. We need rational, thoughtful policy to conquer climate problems. To finance the energy transition, you need to finance people like Exxon. Yeah. So I'm not sure that that's really contributing to any of that move here. That was from earlier this morning.
Pointing out all the things that we're doing wrong.
Jamie Dimon, he likes to do that.
Looks like Wheeler's getting a bit of a pull. Got as high as 985. BLMZ headed lower. SLXN sideways still. BKYI is also headed lower.
QH going lower. That penny stock.
I think
DJT
SMX,
dip and pop, but pretty much just back to flat.
Yeah,
Lassie
DJT
might be trying to take out the highs there. Sorry, 13. I keep running you over, man.
DJT, we talked about how that may get some movement with the debate coming up. So that could, be on and off all day. That'd be interesting to see what if we end up going higher or not. I haven't even looked at that today. You said we dropped and then reversed. Let's see here. So it seems like it found a bottom at 17. Now, if we're going to trade up, the first stop I'd be looking at would be maybe $20. It's lower than where the 20-day SMA is, but by tomorrow it could be there. 20-day SMA looks like it might be the first stop for upside in DJT. A lot of these moving names that we saw this morning, they're all getting hammered.
Alaska, Gideon, sweet name there, asking for some clarification here. Qs are far from flat. What are you referring to, Ryan? The hour, the day? I apologize. I will try and throw time frames in here. I can definitely see why that's confusing. First of all, the Qs are up just under 0.5% here today. That is kind of near flat. But what I was referring to specifically in the comment that you're asking about is that the Qs really haven't kind of picked a direction, right? We opened right here. We did try to trade up. We immediately sold it, but we didn't break down. And now we've kind of chopped around. We're literally pretty much right at where we opened. I apologize for being unclear, but this is what I meant.
Let's see. So out of the open, oh wow. Out of the open on the SPY, we traded right up to the 548.62 previous all-time high. Got as high, about 4 cents higher than that, and turned around. Now we're testing the 547 level. That's an important level. This is, we could end up in this range for a little bit today. If we start breaking down 547, then we could end up seeing more of that today.
SPY, that pull got bought right here. Look at that. That pull got bought right to the VWAP here on SPY. This actually, on a 5-minute chart, this producing a pretty decent hammer candle.
547. Strong level.
Right back to the VWAP there.
Looks like the Lunar is going to try and take out that 547 intraday high.
I like this too from Amanda. Qs have lost the velocity. That's what makes them flat in my book. It's that change, right? It's that delta. How much is it changing? And if it's just kind of holding there, that feels like flat to me.
Apple's ripping.
By the way, SPY right to that VWAP and stopped there. Let me bring up Apple here. Oh, did my keyboard not register? There we go.
Yeah, it certainly turned around for sure.
Yeah, that dip bought here. Was kind of expecting that, to be honest.
Lunar with new intraday highs.
Interesting. Lunar. I don't know. Has that been on my scanner today? Let me take a look here at Lunar real fast.
Wheeler almost at 10, got as high as 990. What else are we looking at, folks?
Tesla continuing to go here. Amazon still at 180. Wake me up, Amazon. Wake me up when we're over 200.
What do we think about car? It's interesting. We were just talking about automobiles and rentals yesterday. And it's interesting because this type of seasonality that we're in right now has been historically weak for automobiles. And we're also going to see some. I think there's a possibility that we're going to see okay. Let me back up. This is the part of the season right now where we're going to start where new vehicles are starting to be released and fleets start picking up those new vehicles. I'm sorry, rental companies start picking up new vehicles for their fleets. We're also seeing a lot more advertisement, seeing as how we're also got football underway, so more eyes are glued to televisions. So this could be a good time for some rental companies and even car parts companies. I think that might be an issue with new car purchases and used car purchases because things are still really expensive. It's I think we're going to probably see more self repair. But Avis Budget Group could be a good one for on the rental side. Let me take a look and see what we got here. This thing has been absolutely beat up. So
yeah, it sure has. It's at the lows on that daily.
It's super interesting on that front. We might be. I would look to see if we get a bottom soon. This thing is super oversold right now, and we're coming down to the low from July of 2021. Interesting. Call that you have here. Sorry, I forgot who was asking about this, but Frank. Interesting here. As far as the long term, I'd want to see this bottom first. I don't want to get into it now and be like, oh yeah, it's the bottom's here, only for it to go lower. But it looks like that's coming soon. So I think you might have something good here for the long term. But let's. I would want to see it first.
Real quick, Jay Rice. I know we talked about INDI a long time ago. I have since ditched this thing. It has been a terrible performer, just absolutely terrible. I actually did see some unusual options here, sweeping up the 2.5 puts. When we were talking about this stock was in the 7s. I took a loss on this in the 5s. Here we are in the 3s, looking like Indy, ticker INDI, going to go lower here. That was small. It's not really a big deal, but just mentioning what I'm seeing here. Tesla pulling back after its nice little rip there.
Looks like BKYI is trying to
Sure does.
Still move back to its VWAP.
Sure does. See if we get to that VWAP. I've got that VWAP here, 210. 210, 211, whatever you see there. There was a question earlier. Let's see. Any thoughts here, Lewis? Any thoughts on GME or Play? They report today after the bell. Well, I got to be honest with you. First of all, I'm not sure how much the GME earnings matter. Seems to have a mind of its own and a cult following. I don't mean that in a bad way. With that event being here, I wouldn't be surprised to see some volatility. The daily chart actually looks like this wants to try and push higher, but realistically, we're going to need some pretty extreme volume. This is not one that I'm going to play here, GME. Let me take a look at the calendar here real quick, see how its earnings have done recently.
Lion Atlas.
Not great.
I think that's just really how a great example of how fear works. That's FOMO to the upside and fear to the downside.
What was he saying? You want to cover this?
He was saying it's funny and weird when the stocks like Nvidia dropped to $98, nobody wants it, but when it was like at all-time highs, everybody was buying. Go figure it.
Yeah, at risk of speaking for Smoke Tuna, because he's a grown-ass man and doesn't need anybody to speak for him, I think this is what he's talking about when he talks about buying the weakness, right? Like sometimes you just got to hold your nose and buy. Nobody wants it when the stock is selling off. This is the type of dynamic that you're trying to capture. Right. So if the market is selling something off, you're trying to be the contrarian saying, I'm going to buy this here. Whoa, big market pull, by the way, folks. Big market pull. I'm going to take
the Fed is speaking right now.
Yep, that's what's going on. Fed Bar recommends increasing capital buffer for 8 largest banks by 9%. I'm actually seeing that on the screen here. Pull across the board here. Heat map going from green to red, as we can see. Let me go back. We can take a look at some of those individual names.
Some of the stuff we were trading this morning, either holding their position or going lower. We had Play that we're being asked about briefly, so I was just taking a look at the chart.
Yes, some stuff happened though.
I personally don't like Play. I don't like restaurants in general right now, especially with the weakening consumer. Looking at Play's chart, that looks pretty bad. Looks like it wants to go lower. I don't have any appeal to Dave & Buster's right now, even though I like going there sometimes. I don't think I'd want to own this stock right now.
This was a popular date spot back when I was in high school. People love to go to Dave & Buster's. I agree with you. I'm not looking to play this for earnings. Look at where the chart is here. Here, I'm going to go back. We can cover these comments from Bar if you want.
Easy Mike, bye banks. That's why Buffett was trying to get out. He knew this was coming. That's why he sold Bank of America.
Smoke Tuna saying all indexes are red now. Careful with any new trades.
Yep, just let the market absorb that. And then it'll figure out what it wants to do.
Here we go. Fed, I'm just going to kind of read these real quick. Just keep it up with the chat. Fed's Bar says Basel and GSIB surcharge reproposals would work together, increase capital for GSIBs by 9%. Original plan had raised their capital by 19%. We will recommend regulators repropose the Basel endgame. And global systemically import banks surcharge bank capital rules. Changes to Basel reproposal would exempt banks under 250 billion.
Wheeler again.
Assets. Okay, Fed's. Any of you bank folks, I'd love to hear Mike, Jay, really anyone out there.
Ask Tim Melvin tomorrow.
Graphic user interface GUI. You were saying earlier, does no one care what Bar have to say? No, we do, man. What do you make of it?
I think he was asking about this before we even said anything.
No, he probably was. But what I'm saying here is, why don't you give us your opinion? We'll talk about it. We can break it down.
Well, let me because I was not listening.
Oil lower here, 66.
Let's see here.
Bitcoin lower here. Pretty broad move down here. And we will ask Tim tomorrow. We absolutely will. Now, Tim's focusing more on those smaller banks. So with that exemption of under 250 billion, maybe it's a non-issue for him.
Let me just take a look at something so I can get a better opinion on this.
Buddy's good, man. He sometimes he sleeps right over by the birdcage. He doesn't so much jump on the chair anymore. He's around though. He's doing real good. You hear him. I'm surprised you haven't heard him. He screams at me all the time. He doesn't like when I work. Yeah, I saw that, Jay. I saw it. Goldman Sachs just absolutely getting pummeled out of the open here.
I thought they had some news too from yesterday that was also contributing to their downside, but I'd have to go and look and see what that was. You know, when it comes to, I wonder if this is kind of like a veiled attempt to just get these larger banks ready for an upcoming big number of defaults on the consumer and business side of things. I think we're in a huge debt crisis.
Yeah, Smoke Tuna, I'm going to put this message out to the entire group here. I hope you guys are all staying safe. I am. I guess maybe some of my indecision here today has protected me, as I really haven't been slapped around by any of the trades here today. But be careful with the market pulling here. Goldman, some of that news regarding the news earlier on Goldman Sachs expects 400 million write-off in its latest hit from consumer business exit. That was in the pro news feed here.
Well, markets is trying to figure out what it wants to do with
QH recaptured VWAP.
Nice.
Oh, let's talk about this real quick. Jay, I saw you making some rounds on Boot Barn earlier. Shout out to Boot Barn. I've only ordered a couple of things there, but they're awesome and they were not overpriced, which is amazing. This thing has been absolutely ripping, and it has been absolutely ripping since that Spruce Point short report. Okay, that thing. Was it when was that? That wasn't under. No, it wasn't in August. That was a while ago. This was under 100 when we got that short report, wasn't it? Nonetheless, Boot Barn here really, really doing well. Boot Barn shares trading higher. BTIG raised its price target from 150 to 165. This has been a really, really good performer. Jay, you had said earlier, I think something that we should always keep in mind. Not all short reports are created equal. You are absolutely right. Nice little fade off the top here that it didn't take, though.
I have a feeling as if Wheeler doesn't get to 10 in the next like 15 minutes, it's probably going to end up trading lower.
All right, let me bring Wheeler up on screen. I'm actually going to blow my nose too real quick. 13 BRB.
Get it. What are we looking at, folks? Yeah, not a raging short. QH float 97 million. Enjoy that. I'm not trading QH right now. Turn holding and turn breaking. I'll take a look at turn. See what's going on with that. What is the news here with Turn Pharmaceuticals? JMP Securities raised its price target on the stock from 15 to 20. Is that all the news that it's got? Seems like it. They did a public offering yesterday. So this is like what the rebound after that. If I May 13, that has been a crisis for you. Well, yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, yes, we have been in a debt crisis for a very, very long time. It's probably just coming more to a head now. What else you guys got? ALI pop, we'll call it Ali, and Motion also mentioning Mara. We getting a rebound in Bitcoin? Is it back up to? No, it's not.
Nope.
Looking for a recapture of 58 grand.
It's down near the lows.
Yeah. And then there was that that other one, Ali. Let me take a look at Ali.
That's AILE. Oh my gosh. Nice volume pop there.
Oh, okay. It was all right. I had that wrong. This thing has just been gapping down. It has a gap to fill to the upside from 173 to 297. That's a nice sized gap. It needs to get up to 173 in order to do that, and it is currently at 99 cents.
QH popping to the intraday highs here. Let's see if it takes this out here. QH. There it goes. Maybe we go higher here. That was a 62 break QH.
All right. Looking around here, still seeing a lot of sideways action. think I saw Jay Summers saying that he hasn't traded anything today. That's probably a really good move, considering that there hasn't been a whole lot on the table here, and things are not working out too well with some of these names that we were talking about earlier. Oh. SQQQ looking good. What's on our long-term shopping list and at what level? Let's see here.
That's a better discussion for happy hour, Daddy Backstrap.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this would be the month to start talking about it, because I think next month is going to be when we want to start buying.
Yeah, I think you might be right. You know, I'll tell you what, I'll start with NVIDIA there, because he had mentioned NVIDIA and MU. NVIDIA, if we come into that sub 100 level that you're talking about, I'm looking for that her trade. That is not necessarily long-term investment. I think things have kind of changed over at NVIDIA. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right about that. I am interested in this in a long side trade if we break 100.
You know, I'll tell you one that I already have that I'd be looking to add to, UPS. That's one that I've started a position in recently, and that I intend to add more to is that company. Dividend yield's pretty good right now. I think it's historically at its highest, and you know, this is a gauge on the strength of the consumer, and right now the consumer's weak, so I'm buying into the weakness. And in a year or however long I'm going to hold on to this for, I'll sell it then for long-term gains and whatever the dividend provides me at the time.
Yeah, I think 115 is actually not a bad level here on UPS either. That's the second part of Daddy Backstrap's question. If this continues to move in here, we take a look at, clicked on my hotkey map there. Take a look at Micron. Micron, I'd definitely like this lower. One of the things to watch here with some of these are going to be the PEs. All right, so PE here on Micron as of today is 10. That's pretty good. Traditionally, these semi names had low multiples, and that's kind of what we want to see here. Micron doesn't actually look bad. I think 80, which is the level I believe that you gave, Daddy Backstrap. Yeah, 80. I agree with you. I think Micron looks pretty good around there.
I would like to own Micron again. I needed do a little bit more deep diving into it, because I've owned it before. It's been really great, but it had that period of weakness during the supply chain fiasco. As far as UPS goes, though, for more downside, I do have orders out to add. Should we get that downside, I'm going to be adding at 120 and 115.
Okay, here's your curl on BKYI. Smoke Tuna is mentioning it. Let's see if we get back to the VWAP there. Here we go. VWAP 208, BKYI 210 maybe on VWAP. BKYI.
Yeah, be careful.
There's a little bit of size there at 202. It looks like it's actually moving around the board there. That kind of moved up 205, 207. Maybe there's some iceberg orders out here. We're at a resistance area right here. 205 coming here. Let's see if we take that. They're walking it down there. They walked that offer down to 203. Don't know if you guys saw that.
Yep.
You're welcome, Daddy Backstrap. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out. So here we go. 202. They took it. A little bit more size there. 203. This can get rolling here if this volume pops. We're actually starting. We got one tick there of expansion. Let's see if we can get another. We probably go higher here. VWAP at 210. 209 has an offer out.
Yeah, it's going to hit it. Uh-oh.
Now, here's the question, guys.
Look at that bid down at 190.
What's that?
Look at the bid down at 190.
Big? I actually don't see it on mine.
It's huge. All right, here we go. And got it. Just slightly over 209. And here's
207. They're refilling 207 here.
They hit 210. They hit VWAP. Boom dickety.
Okay, there you go. Let's see if we break above. First trade booked here. Finally. It's small, but finally got something.
I think it's been really smart to have waited for some trades to set up today, because we had a good movement out of the gate, but then we had a whole bunch of crap for the past half hour.
13, how many times have we tried, how many times have you seen that happen to me, where I'm literally trying to trade something early, I end up getting stopped out, I look like a dumbass, stock goes a little bit lower, and then bang, that trade sets up. All we have to do is be a little bit more patient. All we have to do is be a little bit more patient. I know I was a little slow on the trading here. 1 for 1 now in this move back, BKYI. I ditched all of mine, by the way. I don't think this goes through the VWAP. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm still waiting for that shirt.
Yeah, that's totally my fault, 13. I know that the ball's in my court here. I haven't started our little company yet. I know we should. Football's here. I'm
take your time. We're having fun.
Yeah, but I'd like to get something else up. That'd be sweet. What are you guys doing? I'm glad I at least got a trade out there. My goodness. My goodness. Now I don't have to feel like I can revenge trade thing. Now I don't have the FOMO, right? I got one under my belt. Here we go, pulling back on BKYI. It looks like the VWAP exit was good there.
Yeah.
How's Oracle doing after that initial move? We saw that move up. We saw the move down. Recaptured VWAP here. I think the easy moves might be done in Oracle. Turn looking to try again? Jonathan? Indeed. ASNS. It's below its VWAP. How's Wheeler doing? We didn't hit 10. Oh, man. But I'll tell you what. We don't break down through 9 in this VWAP. 10 might still be on deck for later. Here's QH. How's that doing? Actually, QH looking like it might be trying to go higher here. I don't trust these penny stocks. I'm no good with them, but
you RCAP folks, you might. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on what might happen here, because you got a little bit of selling and VWAP support turned back around, and now it looks like it could be getting ready to take out 273. Not sure how quickly that's going to happen. MACD kind of implies that it might be go lower first, but as long as it can hold VWAP, there might be some more upside here. EQIX, Robert, that's a data center REIT. I think that one had a short report on it at some point, but didn't amount to nothing.
Hey, look at Apple. Look at Apple. Showing some strength here. SPY, by the way, we should mention here, SPY is also bouncing. So here we go. So SPY coming up off the lows. I'd be curious to know what the heat map looks like here.
Yeah, Apple's going to need to take out that opening high of 220.
Technology clearly holding us up for wherever we're at. To me, looking at this, technology is clearly holding us up. Q's heat map looks the best here. SPY has the most red, but it's being offset by NVIDIA, Microsoft, I guess Google and Broadcom, all tech names, by the way. Dow looks kind of mixed with the banks leading the way to the downside. Apple, this tile's likely going to go green if this continues.
If it doesn't go green, it's a double top.
So,
and it's got that was right to 220, and 2 cents, and it came right back in. So if we get up to 220 again, be curious to see what happens. It's either going to take a big old volume stick to get through that 220, or it's just going to get rejected and go back down.
Southwest Airlines down 4.5% here. News this morning: Southwest Airlines announces the next phase of its comprehensive board refreshment. Reiterates support for Bob Jordan as the CEO. Six directors to retire in November, intends to appoint 4 new independent directors, potentially including candidates proposed by Elliott, the activist investor that joined there. Southwest, I actually saw some puts coming through here on the unusual option scanner. Southwest down 4.5% here on that.
Elliott released a statement on the board resignations as well.
Here is that statement. We are pleased that the board is beginning to recognize the degrees of change that will be required at Southwest. This, to me, reads bullish. I'd love to know what more of you folks think about this, but to me, that actually sounds good.
Let's take a look here then. Man, that 500-day SMA has just been awful for this stock.
GUI. I'm just going to call you GUI from now on, graphical user interface. From what I'm hearing from Barr, new bulk of capital to be given to more banks for their trading activities. Did I get this right? I'm not listening to him. Let me go take a look at that. I don't know. I don't know. Let us know if any of you folks have that. Let us know. Here's BKYI, by the way. We kept going. So for any of you, look at that. We found resistance right at the VWAP. We came off of it a little bit, and the second move through, bang, right through there. Volume continuing to expand here. This looking good. I might have piked this being out there at VWAP. 210 was my sell. Currently at 213.
Wow.
Easy Mike, what are you referring to? Is it the Barr comments here? Help me out.
Looks like some of these names are starting to come back. You already mentioned BKYI. Looks like BLMZ is trying to turn around as well. SLXN, that's still going lower. SMX, that's trying to find a bottom. Lunar, new highs, intraday highs, 578 now. Wheeler, this thing just got rug pulled. Seems like everybody
give us a trade though. No,
I don't know. I would be done with this one.
It rug pulled right through the VWAP. Now, if we reclaim that, maybe.
Look at the MACD. I think this is something you'd want to kind of just be done with for a little while, if for the rest of the day. Remember, this is moving on news that happened last week. It's a gamble. It's a total 100% gamble. If you're going to get into this at this point, I don't know where this goes. I think maybe down towards the towards 775. That would be my guess. BKYI. I think this. I mean, as long as this holds above VWAP, there's a good chance this is going to make new highs. 240 is the current intraday high. Oh,
Wheeler,
yes.
Wheeler's trying to reclaim here.
RFID trader mentioning Boeing about the union agreements. What is that doing today anyway? Because
here, I'll bring it up.
Oh, it's lower.
Lower. How are you surprised? Stock seems to go lower every day.
No, I'll be surprised if it goes lower than, let's say, 120 or 115. But I think a bounce will be coming at around just above 150 at some point here.
Been an interesting day. Interesting day.
Getting a mention in our happy hour chat about Ally Financial and how that's getting hammered today over auto delinquencies. So whoever was asking about car earlier, I don't know if that factors into your trade plan or not, but that may be something for you to consider. And we're trying to see if BKYI is going to keep going up. We're holding VWAP, currently above it at the moment. Wheeler still it traded back up to VWAP, and it looks like it's getting rejected.
Sorry, I'm bitching about Christian McCaffrey in my work Slack here for fantasy football. I am so pissed. I'm just so pissed at that. That is just an absolute clown move. Just an absolute clown move.
All right, BKYI, we're moving.
Let's get it.
Looking for 230.
Wheeler, by the way, did not hold that VWAP on Wheeler. We'll see if it comes back. That thing's been volatile.
So if BKYI breaks 240, still looking for 270 on this one.
240 going to be your intraday high right there, 13. Good spot.
This is going to halt.
There it is, right through that. 260 is going to be your halt spot here. Great job. Great job, BKYI.
That was oh, Jesus. Look at that. Yeah, so that worked. What's coming up next now? Looks like BLMZ could, once we have BKYI halted, everybody's going to start looking for the next thing. That could be BLMZ. It could be Lunar, because that one's now making highs. It's a 581 going higher. Maybe they pile into Wheeler. Who knows? Just kind of look for some of these ones we've been trading. Maybe they start to move into that one.
I was just going to say, I'm not sure they're piling into Wheeler here.
I was just kind of making an example.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of mocking the stock, frankly. Okay. and I'm looking out for Christoph. Christoph said Wheeler killed me. I'm looking out for him. I'm trying to mock the thing back. We'll see here on Wheeler. I'd be careful with this one. Be real careful with this one. I don't trust. Yeah, I don't trust it.
It can do whatever it wants. It can go up to 10 and higher. I don't care. I don't want to touch it anymore. Man, SLXN is just absolutely getting hammered. This thing is probably going to $1.
Let me bring that up on screen here. SLXN.
Yeah.
Oof. Rough chart here today. Nice job booking gains, BKYI.
Yeah.
Book them gains.
I don't want to discount BLMZ because the MACD is kind of implying that we might see some upside here, but it is so slow moving right now.
SMX not really doing anything. QH is doing a decent job staying above its VWAP here. Lassie doing the same thing. Wheeler, it's trying but struggling.
SMX might have found a bottom.
Turn. Might be going higher here.
I just, if SMX loses 3, then yeah, I'll be done. But it's kind of starting to turn around here. There may be something in here. Can't guarantee that. Let's see what happens in the next 10 minutes. SLXN. Isn't this one that had the best news? No, this was our volume, relative volume from yesterday. Never mind. So nothing there. What else are we looking at? FBLG above VWAPs is Market Sniper. Let's see what that's about.
Which one? S what?
No, FBLG.
FBLG. Sorry, I had trouble hearing you there.
That's because my tongue got in the way.
Ooh, take that. FBLG. Biologics. Actually, this is a decent move.
$16 price target from EF Hutton. And this is going to present, they had news on Friday. It's going to present at HC Wainwright 26th Annual Global Investment Conference. That's probably what it's moving on. I don't see any other news.
Real quick here, RFID trader. Let me actually go over to my chart tool here. Let's take a look here. So here's one of the things we're looking at on VKTX. First of all, I definitely know why you're long this. One of the things that I'm kind of waiting for a potential long here is this test, which actually happens to line up quite nicely. We're actually getting a marriage of data points. I'd love to see us. What?
I was going to say, keep an eye on BLMZ. It just got a bid at 273 that could help lift it up. Kind of watching to see what happens here with this one.
Okay, I'll get back there in a sec. VKTX here, I'm kind of waiting for this to come into this 200-day moving average. It got that at about 50.5. And then also notice this was the trend line that we broke, that we're actually still kind of above. I really want to see it bounce here. I would imagine if this falls out here, you can probably stop out of your trade and wait for it to set up again. But this is the area that I'm looking for. I have no position, but I am looking to trade this long. All right, 13. I'm sorry. Let me go back here. What was the stock? BK.
It's a BLMZ that had caught a bid. It seems they have taken it out, but still holding in the 270s. As far as VKTX go, what was the price area you were looking to pick
up? About 50.5.
Right where the 200-day SMA is.
Yep.
All right, gotcha.
And it's also the trend line that I believe you had me draw, if I'm not mistaken.
It seems like that would be something I'd have you do.
Yep. And I mean, it's lining up pretty good here. It actually looks pretty decent.
Okay. Here we might be going here with BLMZ looking for 280. Line Atlas still doing those treasuries. Railing it in. SLNX maybe trying to find a bottom. Not confident with this one. SMX still trying to curl. Needs to recapture the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, which is at 360. And BLMZ is trying to recapture their 65 EMA as well on the 5-minute. SQQQ sideways, not sideways action.
Looks like Arlay, which was down from yesterday. That was just on the scanner here. I haven't checked that out yet here today. Relay Therapeutics.
Buy trading underneath 547. Looks like it almost got down to my 545.18 level. Got down to 545.55 earlier this morning. That happened about half an hour ago. So we're getting a mention about Broadcom having news.
Okay, let me bring that up. We'll check it out.
Load for me.
You having the same issue? You're having the spinning wheel on the news feed? I reported this, but I haven't heard anything on it yet. Maybe they're still looking into it.
That's okay. That'll get fixed in the new one.
Yeah, but I mean, I want like a hot fix today. There, mine loaded. Okay, Tuesday, September 10th. Tower Semiconductor sets a new standard with Broadcom's Wi-Fi. Okay, so this is another company, Tower Semiconductor, using Broadcom's chip, Wi-Fi
radio frequency front-end modules for next generation mobile applications. Yeah. I think the iPhone 16 news is pretty important too. It'll aid Qualcomm and Broadcom and others, says KeyBank. BKYI is still suspended.
Wheeler coming back up to the VWAP. Let's see. Remember, we saw a couple of these where it took several attempts to actually get through that VWAP.
Testing VWAP right now.
It sure is. Let's see if we get through that. Love to see it pop through this. Jay, hey Ryan, you ever play any golf at Grand Harbor, home of American Pie? No, I haven't. Let me look that up. I'd be interested in that. And I'm looking for some Arizona courses, by the way, Jay, if you have recommendations. Definitely curious.
Looks like SPY's heading lower. Might get a test of 545.18 here in a matter of minutes.
I'm still holding a lottery ticket. Can you guess which one I'm talking about? You have a few shares. It begins with M. That's got to be that MCRB, right? How's that doing here today? It's actually still up from the buy, MCRB. I think this is.
Oh, yeah. The one that may end up getting acquired by Nestle.
Yeah.
That was pretty good yesterday, huh?
Yeah, this actually did move yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Still holding a few of these too. I took this small though. I mean, I got barely any, and that's in my main account. That's not in the trading, the prep account.
Because it is a gamble.
It's for sure a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen, are you still there? Carmen was asking earlier. I know we only have 15 minutes left here before we go over to Anne Marie. Carmen, you were talking earlier. You were asking earlier about if people followed insider buys, multiple insider buys. First of all, you had a stock that you wanted to talk about. I'm definitely curious about that, but I did want to really quickly show something here. We actually have a preset in Pro that, oh my God, I have got my nose from the open window. I'm sorry, it feels like I have to sneeze. I'm all stuffed up. We actually have a preset here for Insider Insights. I noticed that there's something going on with the Insider tab, though, and I reported this morning. This is going to get released in the new version. I'm sure we'll have it fixed by then. But the big thing that I wanted to mention here, actually, let's see if I can load up a chart here. Yes, we can. Oh, good Lord. The big thing that I wanted to mention here was going to be the Insider tool. And one of the buckets that's up here, I know that this might be difficult to see. One of the buckets up here is multiple insider buys. And generally speaking, this is one of the pages that I take a look at.
Ooh, BKYI in the 3 handle now.
Okay. Yeah, Jane, I definitely, I think it's just the changing of the seasons here. I've got all my windows open in my condo and it feels great. My nose is stuffed up. One I've talked about before when it was up to at Lee. What is the ticker of the one that you're looking for, or is the one that you're looking at?
Yeah, so BKYI, that one is trying to decide if it's going to recapture 3 or not. Folks, I think you already did well if you sold here. One thing about those insider buys or insider trading, one of the big things I've been on, for a good portion of this year is watch what the Mag 7 insiders do. We've seen Bezos, who's not necessarily the CEO anymore, but he's a big shareholder. He sold 2 tranches this year, and that was a big indicator in 2021 that set the stage for the downside in 2022. So I've been following that. Also, you have all these other Mag 7 CEOs, with the exception of Tesla and Apple. All the other Mag 7 CEOs have been selling. You have lots of selling in NVIDIA by Huang. You have lots of selling in Meta by Zuckerberg. You have selling in Google, Microsoft,
Amazon by Bezos. Yep.
Well, not just Bezos, but the CEO as well. And Bezos, I think he's already done selling because he already did his 2 tranches. But the CEOs have been dumping shares all summer. And I think that's kind of an indication that this market's heading lower if they're selling up here.
Yeah. Carmen, I gotta figure out what's going on with this insider tab. Something's clearly broken here. I will try to look this up. I'm sorry. I was trying to hold off so we could actually go over this, but my technology here is not working correctly. This is the ticker that you were looking at, XAIR. Let's see if I can get, yeah, here. It's the insider data works on production. So a couple of things here that Carmen mentioning. First of all, August 15th, which is just under a month ago, and August 18th, we had multiple buys on the open market. The CEO and chairman, 2 directors, and then the CEO. Actually, CEO did this twice, excuse me. So we have recent insider buys here, 40 cents, 40 cents, 39 cents, 37 cents. The stock is currently at that same level. It's currently at 39 cents here. So you were saying that they recently had some insider buys. The last earnings is looking a bit promising, thinking they will be profitable in 2025. The data here within Pro confirms what you're looking at here, Carmen. Their lung fit machine produces no from ambient air. I don't understand. The gas from ambient air will do away with canisters. First mover with new patented technology. Interesting, Carmen. Appreciate you sharing this with the group. Appreciate you sharing this.
Here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. This is not market related.
I was going to say SLXN looks like it's trying to turn around. Was all.
Here is XLSN. Really quick, Purgatory Park, Ryan, Phoenix, South Mountain is great. Papago is a small public with narrow fairways. Narrow fairways, that's not my jam. But curious, any of those Phoenix courses going there in October. And I'm going to look for 2 courses to play while we're out there. Asked Jay Rice earlier, Michigan State.
Wheeler still trying to recapture that VWAP. Not successful yet, even though it did trade slightly above it. I'd have to think that it's not going to be too long if it cannot recapture this VWAP that it'll head lower. Look at the SPY now. SPY beelining right for 545.18.
So that little bounce that we had off that first pull, we resume moving to the downside here.
Yeah.
Wheeler looks like it's trying to go through.
It certainly is trying to. It's keeps getting rejected at VWAP.
I'm so jealous, Myrtle Beach. Oh my God. Papago is ASU's home course. I wonder if we're going to be able to get out there in October.
BKYI still holding 270. It continues to do that. We might see some more upside.
Uh-oh, Wheeler, guys.
Did it do it?
I keep taking it off the screen. It's my own fault. We are through. We are through. Let's see where Wheeler goes here.
Be careful.
What was the level that you had earlier?
What, 10?
Tens. Okay.
Got to 990. Looks like BLMZ still not able to get back up above the 65 EMA, going lower. SLXN still trying to turn around. BKYI still getting support from 270.
Wheeler's through. Is this going to go here, guys? Who's trading this? Just out of curiosity. Here we go. Popping some more. Let's see if we take out 990. Oh, there's hardly any size there. Sorry.
I just don't like the volume in this one.
Yeah, the volume is not high like we want to see here.
Yeah,
honestly.
So at some point, it's just going to get up to a level where it just can't get through it, and everybody's just going to, be like, okay, bye, and just leave the stock. And I think that's going to be what's going to hurt all the traders in here. It's not for me right now.
There you go. I like using discipline 13.
I had a couple of good trades in it. I don't need to, risk that.
Oh.
MCRB, by the way, after you guys got done talking about it, decided to go up again.
Well, did we pump it?
Seems like you did.
Not the intention there.
Robert mentioning IoT. What is with the Internet of Things? Samara or Samsara?
IoT is Samsara. That's the Internet of Things play.
Got a lot of coverage on it.
Take care of yourself, Chris.
See you, Chris.
Have a great day. Yeah, great stuff. We'll see you on happy hour later today.
All right. So Wheeler losing 9 and VWAP. And,
yeah.
Kind of looking like what
nice
I was
little curl there.
Worried about.
Nice little curl there. Here's MRCB. Let's see if we got anything else. BKYI holding that gap area. Any opinion on love before we get going? So we talked about that earlier here today. We saw that this was getting sold off. It's actually up off the lows. It was down almost 4.5%. I was saying earlier, this reads good, right? So Elliott took a stake in them recently. Looks like they released a statement on some of these board reshuffling that's going on here. They said they're pleased. To me, this sounds good, right? Like Elliott's in there. They're trying to change things. The company's responding. Elliott saying that that's good. I know the stock's down here today. But maybe that, I don't know. Airlines are real tough. Airlines have been real tough to own here. I don't have any position in this.
Lots of selling in BKYI. It's pulling it down under 270. Bulls are trying to step in and push it back up. But it looks like that with love, that needs to recapture the 200-day SMA. And it's trading beneath it right now.
All right, Steve, take care of yourself. Thanks for everything. Thanks for all the calls here today. We're actually going to be looking at a Palantir trade next here, I believe, if you're interested.
Yeah, BKYI just had a big old sell order come in. I think this
QH.
Sorry, go ahead.
QH bang to the highs. Good call there, Crow. Sorry, on BKYI. We can go back to that.
No worries. It's going lower now. And what else is moving? MCRB is slowly moving up. SMX that we were looking at today, that is still trying to find a bottom. Now, BKYI can get some support. I mean, if it can hold 240, could make an argument that it's trying to turn around, but it needs to recapture that 270 for more upside.
Chicago Realtor, take care of yourself, boss.
Take care, Chicago Realtor.
Bears are 1-0, man. Let's all celebrate. Good stuff there, BKYI.
Yeah, Wheeler, it's still trying.
That one's a wild one. Should be careful with that.
No, I'm not going to touch it. It can do whatever it wants. It can rip to $100.
Like I was saying earlier, your patience is impressive.
Well, given the way that we've seen these trades go today, the appetite is fading, and I just don't have I'm not interested in taking that much risk if things aren't looking good. So I just won't try it, or I'll just be patient and wait for things to set up.
Looks like Goldman Sachs has kind of stopped that selling. Looks like it really kind of held that 466, 467 area. Not a whole lot of action, at least on my end here. Did all right, kind of being patient. Disney is pushing. Disney up off that $88 low.
It's still facing its fourth day below the 20-day SMA. Needs to recapture that. I think it also needs to get back above 90.50 in order to see some continued upside, but we'll see. It's kind of just holding this area here.
Keeping shot for a swing long. We haven't looked at shot today, Tracy. Sorry about that. Shot's actually having a pretty nice day here today. And it does look like maybe we're coming off a bottom here. This is actually not a terrible daily chart formation. I know the stock's only $1 here, but not terrible. Maybe if we can trade out of this consolidation area, maybe 160, 159 next spot here.
It hasn't been above its 50-day SMA this long since March. This is not bad looking at all.
Yeah.
I think that if it can recapture that 500-day SMA, that get above 130, you're looking at pretty decent upside. It's going to silver cross pretty soon. Just be mindful of the RSI. We are getting into some overbought territory, so let's hope that we get something like a pop up to 130. It cools off a bit, and then later on it makes down. Later on in the year, it makes its way through the 500-day SMA. But currently above the 50-day SMA, that's a good sign.
Robert mentioning Oracle here. That's kind of holding at its VWAP. We'll see if that gives us another move here. That was this Oracle. This was a good one here. This had a nice little break out of its pre-market range. Comp, you did a great job shorting this off that buying exhaustion, it looked like. So pretty good stuff here. All right. It is almost 11 o'clock here, 13. That is going to do it for us. We're going to bring on Anne Marie next. You got any closing words for the group here, boss?
Don't force anything. It's not looking like the best of trading days. If you want something to do, just keep an eye on what the SPY does, see if any volume starts to pick up. But I think the market's just waiting for CPI. So maybe we should do the same. Just protect yourself, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wisdom, why you got to come in right at the end when we have to transition? Well, we hope to see you tomorrow. In fact, now I'm giving you a homework assignment. You have to show up tomorrow and say hi to the group. Many blessings to you as well. We will see you tomorrow. Okay, 13. He didn't want any of that. He's like, oh, I'm out of here. I am out of here. But 13 leaves room for the one and only Anne Marie. So let's go ahead and bring her on. Anne Marie, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you? I love 13's chill vibe.
Me too. He keeps
chill vibe. Love it.
Listen to this, Anne Marie. He got beat by yours truly. He got beat by me last night on the last run of the football game in fantasy football. He lost by less than a point to me. And still, he was chill all day here today, really able to take his emotion aside and focus on the market. Man, oh man. I mean, he did a great job.
I am sensing that commentary had a little shade on it.
No, I'm serious. Because if that were me, I would have been pissed. I would have been so mad if I lost by less. It'd be one thing if he blew me out, but if I lose by a point on the last carry of the game, I probably have trouble controlling that. He had none of that. So he is a better man than I, but I'm 1-0. Okay, now that we've done that.
That's the shade I meant.
I mean, if you're going to tease it, I have to deliver, don't I? So, okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive in here. Thanks again for joining us. What do you got here today? One of the big pieces of news that our group has been talking about the last couple of days here has been the Palantir news and the inclusion in the S&P 500. So I'm almost wondering here, can I get your opinion on that? And then furthermore, do you see a trade that could be set up off that?
Absolutely. So if you remember way back when we were talking about this particular stock, I said, it looks great, but the chains are so quiet and huge spread. Now have a look at what's happened to these chains in terms of open interest and volume. It's exploded, absolutely exploded. And so that's given us a chance to really trade this in a way that might make really good sense. So the question is, when a stock moves into the S&P, of course, there's a lot of forced buying as portfolios that model this have to increase into the position. So there's going to be a burst of buying, but then it's going to try and settle out. Now, we know that this chart has got a lot of upswing. And the last time we were together, I said, hey, this resistance zone, we even drew it. We even drew it out. So for those of us that remember, it's a measured move. We go right up here and look at where it tops out.
Amazing. Right at the top of the measured move. Almost like you planned that.
Yes. Well, the market sort of plans it for sure. And so now we have to think, if we want to get involved here, what's the best bet? And my thought is a short put spread. Now, you might say, gosh, Emery, that just doesn't feel exciting. It's so boring to have a short put spread. And I say, yes, it is, depending on your time frame. What we expect is a burst of enthusiasm, just like, I mean, the earnings just rocketed, pulled back. Take a look at this from a weekly perspective. It's already tested old resistance, new support over from the earnings. It breaks out for 2 weeks, collapses into the breakout of the earnings week, and now it's gapped up because of this news. And it is in a favorable space. So the thought process is, how do we get involved and not expose ourselves to a dramatic amount of risk? And that's why we look at the short put spread. Now, why? Well, maybe we want to be able to buy it at a certain price, or maybe we just want to spread out just a little bit. And so there are a couple of things we could do. I'm going to go through 2 things. We're going to learn something a little bit new.
Excellent.
We are going to look at, first of all, the short put spread. If we look at 30, it doesn't give us really anything for October. It's just 59 cents. Okay. So if we want to think to ourselves, last time we were on, I was on with you and James, and he's like, I'm putting this in my kid's account because it's just going to be rock star good. It's going to be that good. So you could do a couple of things. All right. Here's a backdrop on options. Short or put side options normally run cheaper than call side options. Call sides are normally more expensive than put sides. And so we have a tendency to collect a little bit more premium if we're on a call side, and then less premium if we're on a put side. So let's say we go to November and we sell the 30-25 put spread, and it gives us $1.02. So that's about 20%. And I like to use a minimum of 20% of a credit if we're looking at a vertical. And so why is this a nice thing? Well, because we've got upside action, right? The short put spread, which gives us a positive skew, meaning the more it rises, the more profit we can collect. And so that upside pressure, we're trading on the same side of the trade. Now, since the call sides are so much more expensive. We actually could go all the way to, see, they're here at 40. So let's go down to 41. We could also sell a call spread at the 41, maybe 44. Okay, and that gives us a little bit more credit. We've got ourselves an iron condor. We could sell the 30 put by itself for a naked put and say, hey, listen, if it comes in and it hits 30, I'm going to buy 100 shares of it. It's going to give me $1.50 credit. So my real entry point will be $28.50. And so that's a nice space if you're looking at this moving to 34 and you expect it to fade a little bit. So there's one flat out option, nice and easy. The 30 short put, you collect the $1.50 if it never comes to you. But if you're eager to collect the stock, that's a good space to go and maybe give yourself a little bit of additional support on the premium. We could do something else. You could sell the put spread, and then you could go down here and you could sell the maybe the 40/43, right? This is actually called a jade lizard. And so what I know,
I've never heard
not
that
name
before.
these things. I don't name these things.
Now, just as an aside here, the former gemologist in me has to clarify: is it jade or jadeite?
You know what? As someone who knows nothing about jade other than most of the time it's green, but it can come in all kinds of colors, I have no idea.
Okay, I was just kidding anyway. Jadeite's much more common, by the way, but you're spot on there with the color range that it has. So anyway, sorry for the distraction.
So no, I like it. So this is called a jade lizard, and it actually is a very bullish position. And so you might go, what are you talking about? So you've got the short put in close enough that you could get filled. And you've got the short call spread far enough away that it's likely you don't get filled, certainly in the near term. It gives you, instead of $1, it gives you $2.11. And now, if you get filled on that 30 put, you get it for just over $28, or actually $27.89. And so it eases up a little bit in terms of what you have, but this is a very high margin position. And so if you have the margin for that, great. If you don't have the margin for that, then the easiest thing to do is the short put spread, and you can make it even 30 to, look at them. They've got 26, 30 to 26. It gives you an 86-cent credit, still at about that 20% of the collected. And if you say, hey, you know, I want to buy 5 of these or whatever, that'll give you, let's erase these for just 2 secs. And that will take, you know, $4,000 of buying power out of your space. There, if you were to say, all right, Anne-Marie, I am in this for the long term, for the longer haul, give me a trade that's going to pay me big if this chart does what I think it's going to do. And so let's go to the monthlies.
Okay.
All right. So this thing is almost at its all-time high, right? 45. Yep. It is very likely to rise out of that if it keeps running in this current space. But you could also look at that and go, you know what? In this kind of market, maybe I'm staring at a double top. Hard to say, but it is something where you could go, all right, I might have to give this a little bit of time in the long run for a big move to the upside. And that would mean you could go to December and you just want to look at the call side because you feel, listen, I'm going to sit on this. It's going to give me some traction into the prior highs, which we'll leave at 45 because there's somebody bought up there. And then, 50 is the very last strike they have here. That is a 49-cent call butterfly. And that gives us $451 potential upside profit. And so those are the different kinds of trades that I would look at with this stock. It's become quite versatile now that it's moved into the S&P, and it's going to even have more opportunity to give us more strikes down the road. But at this juncture, I don't think it runs all the way through this and just rockets. I could be wrong. If that's the case, then, maybe you look at something like, maybe you say, hey, I'm going to see what happens by October. I'm going to see if this thing will blast off. That's only 32 cents.
Yes, it's a little bit cheaper and you give yourself some less time there. Interesting.
Exactly. Now, why is that? Because the time premium now becomes important because the position we have here has got a lot of traction in it, but it's far away. And so the time premium makes this a little bit more expensive because the volatility is essentially the same between October and December.
Okay. Really awesome. The only other thing to mention there about that December, I believe that encompasses the next earnings print. Let me give you that date there real quick.
I have 10/31 as the next earnings.
I think that you're right. Me too. It is unconfirmed, but it is going to be on or about on Halloween.
All right. So I think we ought to put this on a little tickler and say, you know what? Let's position an earnings trade. Let's see what happens here on both sides of the equation. Now, here's the thing. You could take this trade anyway, right? It's going to close before earnings. Maybe it runs straight up into earnings.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a buy the rumor, sell the news. Maybe it's, holy cow, finally I get to position in this and everybody floods the gates. So there's opportunity there. The risk event, I think, is still high. So I would say, hey, listen, buy maybe 3-4 of these. Don't get all crazy buying 20 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
just and see how that goes. I think that would be a good idea.
Would you combine any of these together? Like, for example, would you take that longer term butterfly that maybe goes out to December and then maybe one of the other trades that you had? I think you had naked puts on there.
Of course.
At one point. So is there any scenario in which you take multiple trades here, given that one of them has a different time horizon and then maybe both can hit? Or am I just am I getting too greedy? Okay, no, good.
Absolutely. If you take this longer out, right, and you go, okay, I'm looking for this. The short put spread still looks very good, right? It does use premium. And so that's the one thing. If you have, for those of us that maybe have smaller accounts, we're very concerned about how much buying power we eat into. That is going to be something that is positionally important. But I would say anytime you could sell for something like this, where you go, just give it to me. Just, I want the trade.
Mhm.
You know, you can start selling puts fairly early on, right? The big thing about, look at this delta is a 17. So traditionally speaking, you could sell anything between 20 to 13 in terms of the delta. So you could even sell the 31s, right? And you could go down here if you don't care about, hey, I can sell a strangle. You could go down here to the delta and you could sell the 40 deltas for October. It'll give you $1.28. Right? And so for this, what you want to do is manage it at about 50%. Don't hold it into close. Just go, you know what? I'm going to take 60 cents out of this and I'll see you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. A couple of things here to clean up. First of all, we have made Chewbacca proud because Amanda is saying, please thank Anne-Marie for me. Her levels on MES made me more money today than my real job. This is the type of stuff that I absolutely love to see out of any of the content that Benzinga produces. When we help the user base out there and they are saying things like this, man, that hits me right in the feels. Amanda, that is awesome. Anne-Marie, congratulations. Take a victory lap, would you?
You know what? We're already going to take a victory lap over the Oracle double butterfly that we had. So
okay,
that's just that to this day.
It looks like we have several victory laps to take here today, and that is surprises absolutely nobody. One more question here, also from Amanda. So Jade Lizard in this case is the credit call spread plus a naked put.
That is correct. That is correct.
I tell you what,
So,
Amanda's really studying. I feel like she's getting 100 on all of these little quizzes and stuff. It's really impressive.
I know. I love her contributions. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just remember, the Jade Lizard is essentially a bullish position, and you're going to sell the spread way out of the money, right? You're going to look for those smaller deltas, and then you're going to sell that put closer to the money, and the two will certainly offset each other. You never want to let these things dribble into expiry, right? 10 days, 12 days to expiry. You just cut it off. Don't get greedy. That's the biggest way to lose really, really big. And next time we're together, we're going to go through some 0 DTE positions.
Ooh.
And we're going to talk about how to manage the profits in those. So we're going to be looking at SPY. We're going to be looking at Qs. I've got some great plans for us, expanding that content quite a bit more.
Oh my, this is the first I'm hearing about that, and I am excited. Really quickly here, Manny, hello. Isn't it your birthday today, Manny? Confirm that it's your birthday so we can give you some birthday wishes. I'm pretty sure I saw that from the earlier show, but welcome. Since we're talking about the future, we're kind of looking ahead here. Just a PSA for everybody here. There will not be an Anne-Marie segment this Friday. Apologize for that. I am actually off on Friday, so we will have live trading, but Anne-Marie, we're going to have a break. So the next time you and I join each other will be next Tuesday. It is Manny's birthday. Well, Manny, happy birthday. It looks like Manny. You have a gorgeous puppy there to also celebrate with. So congratulations, Manny. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great one. Another comment here that I really want to highlight here, because I don't think that this gets highlighted enough. Robert here, when we're talking about Amanda's recent call here, Robert's saying hard work pays off. And, I really appreciate this, because you can always tell the people that are constantly trying to add to their toolbox. And I agree here. There is definitely some hard work going on. But the other thing to remember here is that the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get.
Absolutely.
So when you look at the market and you think, boy, that person's lucky, just understand that the harder you work, the luckier you will get. That is something that I have noticed since I started this career.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie, let's start. Go ahead.
No, yeah. What I want to talk about is the latest ruling that came out that said the banks were going to be allowed to reduce their reserves. And that means it should convert to some sort of bullish action for many of them. I'm waiting to see that flesh out. The banks are really down today. Do we have Benzinga news on why/what?
So we were talking about this earlier. We had Jamie Dimon come out earlier and gave some comments on the banks. We also had Fed Barr was talking earlier, and I think that's what really did this here. I totally admit, Anne-Marie, I don't follow banks all that much. This is probably the area in the market where I need the most work. So I'm going to be leaning on you here, but a couple of things. So first of all, Jamie Dimon, some comments earlier. If the government hadn't backed the plan, inflation, that I don't think, I think that was kind of general. Fed Barr says Basel and GSIB surcharge reproposals would together increase capital for GSIB by 9%. Original plan had raised their capital by 19%. He will recommend regulators repropose the Basel Endgame and global systemically important bank surcharge bank capital rules. That's a mouthful. Changes to Basel reproposal would exempt banks under 250 billion from in assets from most new requirements. So it sounds like what they're doing is they're putting some new requirements on the banks. That's driving them lower. But again, I'm a bank noob here. GUI here, graphical user interface. He was the one that was asking. He clearly is following banks, has been for a bit here. It was Barr's comments that drove these banks lower.
Okay. So, because it was my understanding that this new rule would actually give them some flex in terms of being able to move. So this has been a really big move for the month of September for JP Morgan. All these guys fall into the vampire squid environment for me. And so when I take a look at potential motion, deep dips could easily get bought, but there is a trade sitting here, particularly as we step into earnings. So there's a lot that's going to start winding up for us again in the near term as the month unfolds. I think we're a little bit early for a JP Morgan strangle, but this move, not a strangle, double butterfly, but this move certainly tells me, people are very likely to come in at that $200 level, and it's a big fat round number, and they're going to go, hey, let's see if we can hold it. And so if you want to jump the gun, you can see that the 120s have a ton of volume. So maybe the 215, 220, 225 butterflies in October might give us something to bounce. But of course, we would need to leave this before earnings. My suspicion is that this is going to bring buyers today, coming right back into this big fat round number. It is most definitely going to bring buyers. So the key event is, will the traders, what is the ATR here for the week?
And one more thing while you're looking that up here, this is some pretty good context to add here. We had seen earlier when this all came out, we saw the banks move. We had a number of people, Jay most predominantly here, saying, did Buffett get a peek at these bank rules beforehand? 13 was actually talking about this on the earlier show here. That's what he was saying. It would explain all of his Bank of America sales. So it's almost as if this was anticipated. The other thing here is that Chris, who's real sharp here and actually has been giving me a lot of bank information recently, Jay Powell was getting grilled recently on the Senate on this issue. So this was an expected move by the Fed. I'm not sure if any of that data is going to play into your trade, but we might as well be as informed as possible.
Yeah, thank you very much for that backstory. There's enough movement here today that suggests a lot of people weren't prepared for it. It would be if it was something that now for Buffett, chances are he knew that was somewhere on the works because he did it a while back. If the news hits today and we respond today, it means that nobody was really expecting that kind of information to come out and hit them that way. So nothing setting up quite there, but I do believe we're going to see some pretty significant bank action in the next little bit for sure.
Okay. We do have 3 minutes left here. If there's anything that you want to cover, I'm not sure if we have enough time to set up a trade here, but if there's anything that you want to take a look at, any charts that you want to take a look at, welcome to do that here in the remaining 2.5 minutes at this point.
Yeah. I don't per se, my thought is that what we might actually really end up seeing is a very sideways day today. Right. And why? Because we've got CPI tomorrow. People are waiting on some things. There's just all kinds of stuff going on, as it were. And so, sometimes it's good to say, things could be happening, but I think I might need to keep some dry powder as opposed to, jumping in all the way. And my head is a little bit fuzzy today.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Emiliola saying, hey, what about GME, which reports earnings after the bell here today?
So
that reaction says it all. Okay. That was great. Yeah, I don't know if you could have done that better.
So, here's the thing. I can see that the last earnings event really has a kerfuffle built in there. My thought would be sell premium if you can, right? And because look at the vol. Yeah. It's insane.
It's totally juiced.
And when that's the case, winning is, you maybe as well be putting in a bet at DraftKings. It's just not going to be, you're not going to get the spread you want. And don't ask me how I know that. I shouldn't even know that about spreads, but I do. So if you're looking at this, you can see where they're piling up. If I were a betting man, I would say that, anything up here in the 40 area is premium sell zone, right? And I think based on the option chains, you can see that a lot of people are thinking that as well, because the bottom flies right out of it. It's also the 2022 delta. So statistically speaking, you could sell that. It's so hard to put on trades in these sorts of instruments. It
is. And Anne-Marie, I don't feel bad because we get asked about this all of the time. Ever since we watched GME do its crazy thing, everyone wants to hit the next move, whether it's GME or otherwise. And I'm with you. It can be very, very difficult. The other thing is it seems like that first move really kind of caught people off guard. And these next ones, as you were just outlining by the elevated premium, they're not really going to catch people off guard. They kind of learned their lesson. I think the easy trade here is gone.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know how to interpret the roaring kitty picture of the Woody getting dropped by the kid from Toy Story, and it's got the Chewy dog face on it. Look, if you guys can figure out that whole thing,
wait, he posted something like that?
Not today, but like it was last week. It was late last week. He posted just a picture with no text, and it was a screen cap from the movie Toy Story, the original one that I saw when I was younger, and it was Woody being dropped, and Woody's character had a dog face emoji on it. I don't know what that means. I don't have the energy to try to figure it out, to be quite honest with you. So that's what happened.
All right.
That's what happened. Okay. We're out of time here, Anne-Marie. I cannot thank you enough. Really awesome stuff. Again, no Anne-Marie show on Friday. I'm sorry about that. We will join you next Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Stay green, stay safe. Have a good one.